Hello, I'm Kat,
And I'm Hutch.
and we are from Kat and Hutch Storytellers, and we love bringing stories to life.
And since it's St. George's Day today, we thought we'd bring a story to life that features St. George and a dragon.
But this isn't the one that you are thinking of. This is an adaptation of Kenneth Grahame's story, The Reluctant Dragon.
The story takes place in a beautiful countryside village where at the top of a hill lived a shepherd and his family. The shepherd's child loved reading books.
I love reading. I love reading all sorts of books, but my favourite books to read are about dragons. They're my favourite kind.
The child knew everything there was to know about dragons, like what a dragon's favourite food is.
A dragon's favourite food is spaghetti.
And a dragon's fire is the perfect temperature for
Toasting marshmallows.
And dragons always live in
Caves. Dragons always live in caves. There's a cave near us that I thought would definitely have a dragon living in it, but Dad said there isn't one.
One day, the child's father returned home after work with some big news.
Okay, breathe. Breathe in. And out. And in. Well done. Now tell us what you... And out! Breathe out! Okay. Why don't you tell us what you saw?
A dragon! I've just seen a dragon!
Where?
Up in the cave on the top of the hill!
I knew it.
You knew it? What do you mean you knew it?
Well, dragons always live in caves. It says so in my book. So I knew a dragon would move in there sooner or later. What did it look like?
He was huge, gigantic, massive he was. I couldn't even see the full length of him. And he was green all over, covered in hundreds and thousands of green scales. And he had a huge long tail and really big wide wings. Not that I saw the wings or the tail, mind you, because he was sitting down, but they must have been there because he was a dragon. And he had big, sharp, white teeth, hundreds of them. Again, I didn't see his teeth because he had his mouth closed, but again, they must have been there because he's a dragon. But the strangest thing of all was that he was sitting down quite peacefully, reading a book of poetry.
It's all right, Dad. It's nothing to worry about. It's only a dragon.
Only a dragon, only a dragon, only a dragon indeed. Did you not hear about the teeth and the wings and the I mean, what do you know about dragons anyway?
Just like you know lots about sheep and the weather and things, I know lots about dragons, because I read about them all the time. I know, I'll go and have a chat with the dragon tomorrow. I'm sure he's friendly enough. And if he likes poetry, then we'll have lots to talk about.
Are you listening to this? Our child wants to go up and speak to a dragon. What do you think about all that?
Well, she's certainly read a lot about dragons. She knows more about them than I do, and you by the sounds of it. Why don't you go and see the dragon tomorrow?
And so it was decided that the child would go and speak to the dragon. Hutch, if you went to speak to a dragon, what would you ask a dragon?
Ooh, I would want to know how a dragon breathes fire. What about you, Kat?
I would want to know how high a dragon can fly. Like, can they fly all the way up to space? That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
What about you at home? What would you ask the dragon? Well, we're going to find out what the child asked the dragon.
The next day, the child walked all the way to the top of the hill where the cave was. And, sure enough, there was the dragon.
Wow, it really is a dragon. But none of my books ever told me that dragons purred. Oh, I guess you learn something new every day. Excuse me. Hello, Mr. Dragon.
Now don't you go throwing stones at me or squirting me with water or anything like that. I know what you children are like. I've read all about you in my book.
Oh, I wasn't going to do anything like that. I just wanted to see how you are. But if you don't want me here, I can go.
No, don't go. Please stay. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have judged you. And, I can keep myself busy for so long with books and the like, but I must admit, it does get a little bit lonely up here all by myself.
Okay, I'll stay. So, you like reading? I didn't know that dragons could read.
Oh yes, I love reading. Not just reading though. I'll let you in on a secret. I even dabble in a little bit of writing. Poetry is my absolute favourite. Would you like to hear a poem?
Oh, yes, please.
Right, so here we go. There once was a dragon who was green. The most amazing dragon you've ever seen. He liked to roam free and write poetry. And that dragon was, can you guess? Yes, it's me! What do you think?
Wow, that was brilliant, dragon. You surprised me. You're not like any of the dragons I've ever read about.
Yes, well, I must admit, other dragons have given us a bit of a bad reputation. Setting fire to villages and chasing knights and eating witches and all that kind of thing. But I like the simple things in life. I like a bit of sunbathing, writing a bit of poetry. Oh yes, just the simple things will keep me a happy dragon.
Do you think you'll stay here?
Well, if you promise to come up and see me every day so that I'm not lonely anymore, then yes, I think I will stay.
And so the child would go and visit the dragon every day, and every day they would talk about poetry and books. And the child's parents would go and visit the dragon too, with food and drink.
And they lived happily ever after. The end.
No, not yet, Hutch. There's still more of the story to tell. You see, the villagers soon noticed that there was a giant green dragon living on top of the hill near the cave. And these villagers loved to scare each other with made-up stories about the dragon.
Did you know that dragon has eaten so many children that he burps nursery rhymes? I've heard that when he's really still, he turns invisible. He could be here now.
My mate's sister's cousin, her neighbour, said that the dragon has the most momentous stinky breath that it wiped out the whole field of sheep.
Did you know that dragon's fire is so hot it can melt your skin from your very bones? Do you know my third cousin once removed had her tongue ripped out by the dragon? Yeah, No Tongue Nessie. You know her.
He also said that he's got the worst claws. They're so long and venomous that if you get scratched by it, you instantly die.
I heard that he grinds your bones to make his bread. Oh wait, is that the giant? Yeah, maybe it's the giant.
Soon word spread throughout the land that there was a ferocious dragon tormenting the village, and a hero was sent to save the day. Upon his arrival, the crowds all cheered. Let's all cheer as loudly as we can. Ready? Hooray! Woo!
Excuse me, why are we cheering?
The villagers all turned to the child and said, "St. George has come to fight the dragon." Let's all say that together. St. George has come to fight the dragon. After 3. 1, 2, 3. St. George has come to fight the dragon.
Oh no!
The child ran quickly to the dragon to warn him about the arrival of St. George.
Dragon, dragon, dragon!
What? What is it? Why are you shouting? Stop it! I was in the middle of writing a poem. Would you like to hear it? There once was a child on a hill, that's you, who sometimes sounded quite shrill and would shout, "Dragon, dragon, 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 dragon," and that's where you interrupted me.
Well, I've got something important to tell you. He's here now. You have to do something.
Look, sit down and take a breath, and remember, the noun governs the verb, and perhaps you'll be good enough to tell me who it is that is coming.
St. George, he's here to slay you.
Well, tell him to go away. I'm not taking interviews at the moment. He'll have to schedule in a Zoom meeting.
What? An interview? Didn't you hear me? I said he's here to slay you. So you better get ready to fight. He's St. George. You're a dragon. That's just what he does.
Nevertheless, it's a hard no from me. I've already told you, I am not like other dragons. I am a performer, an artist, not a fighter. So why don't you run down the hill and pass that message on to your good St. George?
And so the child ran as fast as she could to the village. No, faster than that. Faster than that. Better, until she finally reached the village.
She looked high. She looked low. She looked all around until she came across an inn. Inside, everybody was drinking and laughing. She went in, and there, beside a fireplace, was St. George.
Excuse me, St. George, may I have a word with you, please? I want to talk with you about the dragon.
Of course. Who was it that the beast slayed? Your mother? Father? Sister? Your goat? Well, whoever it was, fear not. The beast shall be slain, and you shall have your vengeance.
Actually, the dragon's my best friend. He's a really good dragon. He's never slayed anyone. He mostly just reads and writes mostly poetry, and he definitely doesn't want to fight you.
Ah, you have been fooled. That dragon has managed to trick you into thinking he's good. I have heard from all the villagers here how awful that dragon is.
Oh dear, men are so silly when they get an idea in their heads. I'm telling you, he's a really good dragon, and he's a friend of mine. He mostly tells stories about the old days and when he was little. You see, the people in this village like to tell stories that aren't true, and they love watching fights.
I must admit, some of the villagers' stories didn't quite match up. One villager said that the dragon was the size of the moon, while another villager said that he was the size of an ant, yet with the strength of an elephant. I have to say, I do like a fellow who sticks up for someone, and, well, the dragon must be good if he's got a friend like you. The problem is, I'm St. George, and, well, the people expect me to slay the dragon.
Ooh. But you don't. If you met him, you'd never want to slay him. I know. Why don't you come up to the top of the hill and have a little chat with him?
Well, I suppose that's all that can be done. But I've never had a chat with a dragon before I've slain one. I mean, what would I even say to one dragon?
Ah, well, we already know what we would say, don't we, Kat?
Yep, we sure do. Well, the child and St. George walked all the way up to the hill to where the dragon was.
Oh no, dragon's asleep. The child knew she had to make lots of noise to wake up the dragon because he was a very heavy sleeper. So you can join in if you like. If you want to make as much noise as possible, do so after 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Dragon, wake up!
Ooh, what on earth was that terrible racket? I was having a nice nap. I was dreaming about performing my poetry to the one and only William Shakespeare.
Dragon, this is St. George. He's come to talk to you to make an arrangement on the fight.
Oh, well, it's very nice to meet you, St. George. Nice weather we're having, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is, Dragon. Now, your friend here has spoken very highly of you and has convinced me that you're a good dragon. But the problem is, the people want to fight, so we're just going to have to give them one.
But there's absolutely nothing to fight about from beginning to end. The whole thing is nonsense. Besides, I'm not going to do it, so that settles it.
But, this would make a wonderful place for a fight. With its rolling hills. Oh, yes. picture it now. Me with my fantastic armor and you with your green scales. What a picture it would make.
Now you're just trying to appeal to my artistic sensibilities. Though I must admit, when you put it like that, it does all sound rather exciting.
See, Dragon? There doesn't have to be a real fight, it just has to look like one. You always said you liked to perform.
Okay, well tell me, how will it all play out?
Well, I could hit you somewhere where it won't hurt. Maybe on your arm.
Oh no, not there, I'm far too ticklish.
Oh, I know. What about under your neck? Just there.
Yes, I suppose that could work. But what happens after it looks like you've won?
A good fight is finished with a good speech. I could convince them that I've had a word with you and you're now a good dragon. Then you can come to the banquet with us.
Oh yes, the banquet! Where I can finally perform my poetry to everyone. All right, St. George, you've got yourself a deal. I'll see you tomorrow for the big fight.
And so the next morning, all of the village came to watch the fight between St. George and the dragon. Even the village sports commentators were there.
Right, Molly, can you believe we're here on this momentous day? You know, never in all my years commentating on village events did I think I would be here to witness a fight between the one and only St. George and a real-life dragon.
Yes, John. Up until last week, I didn't even know that dragons existed. Now, who have you placed your bet on?
Ah, Molly, that would be telling, wouldn't it? You know, the bookie's still taking bets now.
Place your bets here, place your bets here. Odds are on St. George, slayer of dragons. Who do you want to go for, madam? There we are, lovely. There we go. Who do you want to go for, sir? Right, okay.
Oh, and here we have the contenders. Oh, I see St. George is warming up. Oh, let's warm up with him at home.
Right, time to warm up. Let's do 3 squats. 1, 2, 3. Excellent. Now run on the spot. Excellent. Now, time to practice jabbing. Right, I think I'm ready. Let's go.
I'm a bit tired after all that warming up, Molly. I don't know about you. It looks like the dragon is here now, warming up in his own special way.
Right, here we go.
Oh, and I do believe it's the start of round 1, John. Here we go. Let's find out how it goes.
What a magnificent creature this is. I wonder what his first move is going to be.
Well, I must say, Molly, St. George seems quite unfazed about the dragon's fire. He's heading straight towards him.
And it looks like the dragon is going in for another attack. Here he goes. He's gearing up. What is going to happen?
Well, here comes St. George. Oh, my! Oh, but the dragon's dodged out the way. But what is his next move going to be?
Well, it looks like St. George is gearing up for his next move.
Oh, and it looks like they're going a bit faster now.
He's quite the speedy rider, that St. George. You can tell this isn't his first rodeo.
Whoa! 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 What's he? Come on.
St. George is back on his horse. What's Dragon's next move going to be?
Oh, it looks like he's taunting St. George, and St. George is going in for another hit. Will he get... Oh, but he missed.
That's the end of round 1. St. George is definitely in the lead there, but it's still all to play for. The contestants are getting ready for round 2. And here they go, off into round 2. The dragon looks ready to go.
What is he doing?
What on earth is that dragon doing?
I have never seen anything like it in all my life.
Oh, look! Is that a worm that he's doing now?
I do believe it is, John. You know what the crowd are egging him on.
Dragon, 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 dragon. Whoa!
Oh no, the horse has been startled!
Oh no, St. George is off his horse.
I've lost my horse. Horsey.
And that is the end of round 2, and it looks like the dragon won that round. So it is all to play for in this final round. Let's see what happens, John.
Are you ready, St. George? You and me. This is the final round. Oh, yeah. Right, round 3. Now's the time, dragon.
And that's the start of round 3. It's anybody's game right now. Is it going to be St. George? Is it going to be the dragon? We'll just have to wait and see.
It's the last round. Here we go. No, I think St. George has just lunged. And he's got him right there in the neck. No! Slain by the dragon slayer. I die. I die. I die. I am dead.
Oh my goodness, and that is the end of round 3, the final round. St. George is the victor. Once again, he has managed to slay a dragon. Whew, that was a roller coaster. Oh,
You know what? I think they should call this day St. George's Day. It's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
it absolutely does, Molly. Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly.
And so, as planned, St. George won the fight. And the child did know it was all pretend, but she wanted to double check that the dragon was okay, so she ran over to the dragon. The dragon opened one eye and gave her a wink.
Oh. The villagers were all happy that they'd been able to watch the best fight of the year. But St. George told them that the dragon had changed his ways and was now a good dragon, and so there should be no more fights against him.
All of the villagers went back down to the village to have the banquet, and the dragon joined them. And the dragon was able to recite his poetry, and everybody cheered, and the dragon in excitement flew around.
Woohoo! Whee!
And so the dragon and the child were able to remain the bestest of friends, with the dragon living on top of the hill.
And they all lived... Hang on. This is the right moment, isn't it now, Kat?
Yeah, it is, Hutch.
Okay, cool. And they all lived happily ever after.
The end.
Thank you so much for joining us. Give yourselves a big round of applause.